Apologetic news.
So I just got tickets to Jellyroll's new tour. Tickets were $300 plus for 2 people.
Damn, is that front row or?
8th row back behind the pit.
Jeez.
It really got me thinking here about the history of Nashville hip hop and how I don't think a lot of people know how the dots connect and how that city in the last decade has had more of an impact on hip hop than anywhere. For example, I had someone tell me a couple years ago, someone like mid-tier in the music business, and they were like, Jellyroll's poised to be the best or the biggest artist in the country. And they used the reference of Lady Gaga. And I'm like, what? Not Jelly, you know? They're like, no, he's signed with certain people. There's moves going on in the background. And we're seeing that happen now.
Right.
You know, he's number 1 on all country charts, number 1 on hip hop, just number 1 everywhere. And he's got a new album he just announced that comes out in like 2 months, the Church of something or other.
What's it Church or something?
What's it Church? Yeah. So it's going to be his first full-blown country album. I wish he would still do the blend, but hey, whatever gets you there. If we look back into the history of Nashville hip hop, which I've been just infatuated with since around 2010 or so, but like around that time was when Jelly first started doing, like, I think it was the Gambling on a White Boy or the Therapeutic Music, you know, the first of them. And, you know, he was doing shows with Haystack way back. And this is when Haystack was like, you know, car full of white boys, you know, like he had his huge buzz signed to a major label. He kind of mentored Jelly. And then you got to think like Yelawolf, for example. Yelawolf kind of blew up in the underground with like Trunk Music. And then, you know, before that, he was on a reality show.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
And it was some sort of like America's Got Talent kind of thing. Yeah. Young, non-tatted Yelawolf. But after he blew up with Trunk Music, you know, he got signed to Eminem's label. Yep. So all that Nashville influence went to like a real big mainstream label with being on Shady/Interscope. You know, everyone knows Yelawolf to some extent.
Right.
And then after his deal with Shady, or maybe even Mid, he started switching his style to more of that country. Sounds familiar. It's exactly what Jellyroll's doing, right?
Yep.
And you got to think, because Yelawolf blew up, he helped blow up Ritz, right? Maybe not from the same city, but still because of the same impact. And Ritz was signed to Strange Music for like a 3 or 5 album deal. So that's like a huge impact Nashville had on the underground as well. And then, like I say, Jelly, was an underground, just insightful gangster rapper, basically, turned all the way country. And now, like, what they're saying, it seems to be coming true that he's going to be one of the biggest artists in the country.
I think he already is right now.
Which is, it's bananas to me. Like the other day, I was listening to, down where I work, there's an old CD player, and I never work in that part of the shop, but I'm like, oh, let's see what's in there. And it was a very, very old copy, only half the songs played, of Therapeutic Music 2. And I was listening to that, and I'm like, man, this is just as good as when it came out in, like, I don't know, 2008, 2007. Because when I first found out about Jelly, I went onto his website, and all of his back CDs, which was like 8 of them at the time, they were $5 a pop. So you could just buy one, download it. So every week I'd buy one CD. And it even seemed like back then, anyone in Jelly's orbit became famous, even if it was just for a period of time. Like, do you remember High Roller?
Yeah.
So that was Jellyroll's producer and apparently roommate. I don't know their personal stuff, but, you know, he became like the guy you go to for Nashville hip hop if you want mixing, mastering. He mixed one of my records way back. Like, he did the entire record for me. I needed like a quick, like, 3-day turnaround. And I emailed him, and he's like, yeah, for X amount of money, you know, I'll get you done, get it going. Someone, actually, I think it might have been the Joker had bailed out on me, or someone who was supposed to have done the mix or the master. Yeah. And so, yeah, he took care of me. So High Roller had his fame. And then, like, Bravo Gator, for anyone who follows Nashville, you know, Bravo Gator with, like, a love song, you know? That is just, I remember having to do community service at the Boys and Girls Club. But when I was doing it, like, the kids weren't there, right? So I would have to sweep and mop this giant gymnasium. They had a CD player. So I just be rocking out to stuff, right? And then during that worst part of the love song, the third verse or whatever, when he's like, use a bitch, use a cunt, use a whatever it is, the administrator who's never there walks in. It's blaring and I'm 50 feet away from the stereo, right? So I got to make my way over to there, shut it off. And she's just like, never again, buddy. But Bravo Gator seemed to have either fell off or quit. And then a few years ago, he had found an artist named Savannah Dexter, okay? So she's not very impressive from a technical standpoint, but she's a pretty girl, and that's really what you need.
Sure.
So he started putting her out, and apparently he was married at the time, and then, I don't know, he started diddling his artist, and now they're together. I see them putting out, like, love duets together. But he's resurfacing his career. So it's like anybody who was in that orbit, it's kind of, to a lesser extent, like Howard Stern. Anyone who's associated with Howard, good or bad, is famous. You know, they can have a lifetime career from working for or with Howard for a year. You know, and I think that still holds true. So we got Nashville just ruling things. And I don't think people understand because they just see the music and maybe don't understand the sound, how it's all associated. And it's just, even if you go a little bit wider, it's a Tennessee thing. If we go back to like Memphis, you know, 3-6 Mafia doing their stuff way back, even Mystic Styles. I remember when they signed Lil Wyte and they put out, it might have been on the Choices VHS. It was some VHS, but they had the first Lil Wyte video. I think it was Sure Will. I'm not sure, but it was like they were outside at somebody's house and like there was a whole circle of people and they were all boxing each other. You remember that video?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this would have been Lil Wyte at like 18. But that influenced the hell out of me. And then through like working with Lil Wyte, that's how I found out about Jelly. He was trying to bring him on, you know, for shows and stuff. And this was probably 2009, 2010. It was when Jelly first put out Deal or No Deal.
Remember when he broke into our hotel room?
Vaguely. What was it? So... nobody knows. We had booked Lil Wyte and Jelly to do a show in Springfield. Jelly had to cancel. Lil Wyte didn't, so he came down and he was exactly what you thought he'd be. Just completely blackout drunk by the end of the evening.
Was it that in his contract you had to get him like a 24-pack of Corona or some shit?
And like a fifth or two of... I remember it was clear alcohol. I don't remember what it was.
And he drank it all before he went on stage?
Yeah. So what? Me and you are in a hotel room, and we're trying to go to sleep, and it's the end of the night, and he comes banging on the door?
He just walks. I don't know how he got in. Yeah, I remember this shit clear as day. He somehow managed, I don't know if our door wasn't shut all the way or what, but he comes in and then just lays down on a bed. And we're like, what's up? He's like, I need a fucking Twix.
That's right.
And you and him go hunting on the vending machine.
Right. We go to find the vending machine. And then his manager at the time, Party, gets all super pissed because he can't find him. Because I guess before that, Lil Wyte had disappeared with some hood dudes he found. And they went to the Waffle House.
And we got a phone call
from Party
looking
like, for Lil Wyte.
And then, was it Chode?
Yeah, he was at the Waffle House.
Was like, hey, Lil Wyte's down here acting a fool.
Yeah. No, I can remember that. Yeah, he banged on the door. And then the next morning, I'd set up a studio in the hotel room and he was going to do a feature on one of my songs. But he was like obliterated. You know what I mean? As hungover as a young man could be. And I knew he hadn't wrote anything yet. So I knew we weren't going to get that, you were not going to get top-notch Lil Wyte out of that particular instance. And he did ask if he could do it later. The only problem was everything we were doing was going through Party, and Party was not doing stuff correctly. Like, we never got the money back for that we paid for jellyroll, which was through Party. He handled that and just basically kept telling us it would happen, and nothing ever happened. So we went ahead and was like, man, you kind of need to do it right now, mainly because I don't want to deal with Party anymore. So I remember him coming down and then doing the feature. And then I tried kicking everyone out of the hotel room to do the feature. And then Cody's business partner, we'll call him, he comes bombarding in with like 6 of his friends and tries to turn this whole thing into a party. I'm like, dude, I'm trying here. We don't need anybody else in this room but me and him, right? This isn't necessarily. And I remember Cody and they're videotaping every second of it. Lil Wyte's having to run to the bathroom and throw up every 4 minutes, And
I remember we were all leaving and shit, and I'm holding the door for him. Lil Wyte comes by with a pillow. He's like, let me give you some advice. It's like, all right. It's like every time you stay at a hotel, leave this pillow and take a new one. That way you always got a fresh pillow.
So he brought
And then he just walked off.
So he brought a pillow with him?
Yeah, and then switched it out for a new one at the hotel.
Hey, that probably works. But yeah, through that is how we found out.
Pillow's always fluffy.
How we found out about Jelly. And man, just that impact that city, those artists have had on the entire music industry. I mean, country hip hop wasn't even really a thing. You could say Haystack was, but Haystack was gangster rap. He was a country dude. You know, that's completely different. And before it blew up in the way that like Jelly Roll blew up, like the country wasn't ready for it. So, you know, the powers that be made Big Smo famous. And Big Smo, he wasn't bad, but he was the watered down Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
He was the
He just fell off too.
Yeah, every cliche you could have, the sitting by the campfire. But then, you know, through him, you know, Alexander Keene from that area, who I believe went to high school with Jelly and Lil Wyte or Yelawolf as well.
Remember, he was big on a couple of Jelly albums there for a minute, and then yeah, he's another one that
I don't know what happened to him. He's solid, but yeah, Big Smo, he blew up. I'm working even when it's hurting, you know. And then he got his reality show. Oh, we did go to see him.
You and your dad. That's a story for another time.
Yeah. Long story short, I got too hammered. Went and tried getting in the vehicle. I couldn't, so I passed out on the concrete.
Yeah, me and your dad found you out there. Like, where's Travis? He said he's going to the car, and then there's Travis laying down on the next to the truck.
I do not
miss to stop and pull over so you could throw up.
I do not miss drinking at all. But yeah, for those who don't know and who don't know Nashville history, look into it. And besides, like I've looked up Jelly Roll's discography, so it's supposed to be all of his records. They don't show any record before like, I don't know, Therapeutic Music 4 or something like that. Or no, it was what's the two records that came right after each other that have a similar name? Addiction. Sobriety Sucks and Addiction Kills.
Yeah.
So those are like the first ones, and Jelly Roll had like 7, 8 CDs before that.
There's 5 Therapeutic Musics, the 3 or 4 Gambling on a White Boys. There's the Big Sal Story, the Collection, Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, Deal or No Deal is what people need to go look into, because even back then we knew he was something special. We never knew how big he was going to be. But yeah, so everybody check out Jelly Roll's history, check out Yelawolf's history, check out Ritz while you're there. You know what I mean? Check out Bravo Gator, Alexander Keene, man. It is some of the most solid music at any point in time you're going to find in history. And for that, Nashville, we do thank you.
Not apologetic news. Not apologetic news.